This weathered old wagon is a great subject for drawing for all sorts of reasons. It's interesting, it's got some nice contrast in shape and value and line, but also because it is fairly battered and worn out, it's very forgiving of lines not quite in the right place. So, what are we thinking about in drawing this? I think the biggest challenge is going to be these two wheels that we see. They're visually the most understandable shape, the easiest to see, most recognizable. They're the elements that clearly define this as a wagon. Now, the important thing to remember is to observe carefully exactly what do we see of these wheels, because we are not seeing circles, we are not seeing circular wheels straight on. This closest wheel is a little more straight on, but it's still at an angle, it's still at an ellipse, and we have to capture that elliptical shape. Now, because we see it as an ellipse, the spokes we see differently. Their lengths are different because some are foreshortened more than others. The spokes that are moving away from us are foreshortened compared to ones that are closer to us. But also, whether we see the edge or whether we see the underside or whether we see the top side of the spoke depends on where it's positioned. And according to that as well, hinges whether we see shade or shadow on the side of the spoke as well. So we want to be paying attention to these things as we draw it. The other important thing to note is that the hub in the center that these spokes come out from, it's not straight in the center. That because the hub itself protrudes, and also because of the angle looking down, that if you like center dot in the hub is not in the center of our ellipse, but it's actually down in the lower left quadrant. Now, we have the same issues with the other wheel, except that this wheel is turned away from us more, and therefore it's more of an ellipse. So we have the same issues, just more extreme. So here I go doing the same observation and the same thinking. I've probably put this central hub just a little bit too far down in the lower left quadrant of the wheel, or maybe I've just made it slightly too large. But fortunately, it's not right in the center. So you'll notice that I've done the two wheels first. And what I've done is I've done the first wheel, and then I've worked out the alignment for the second wheel and the spacing and the angle. And then when I've done that, now I join the wheels up, and I find this is far more accurate than if I'd drawn one wheel and then tried to draw the, if you like, joining piece of wood and then add the second wheel to it. Because if I didn't get the wood correct, the positioning of the wood, the angle of the wood, the length of the wood correct, then the wheel would have been in the wrong place, and that visually would have been far more obvious. So position the things that are most obvious first and then join them up, and that way the join up bits will be fairly accurate as well. Now, with the rest of the wagon, with the exception of that closest horizontal beam, really we're just drawing the effect. We really can't see enough detail to clearly draw the structure that's here. There is some sort of structure. There are horizontal pieces going from one side to the other, and then there are vertical pieces laying on top. But we really can't work out what's what between the angle, the distance, the lighting, and the weathering, and just the wear and tear and bits missing or not quite in the right place. It really is impossible to draw this accurately. So having spent extra time on the wheels, we can be a little more relaxed now in drawing the rest of this. And look, if you're finding this wagon interesting and helpful, please, why not hit the like button? And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, why not? There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of both teaching videos and also demo videos. And why not check out my playlists, particularly if you find trees and foliage an issue or perspective. I have a number of playlists on these. But there is another wheel here in this other corner, and I need to make sure I position it in relation to that first wheel I drew. I don't start rushing to draw the wheel. What I do is I look at my reference again. I look to see how it aligns with the first wheel. How the base of this wheel aligns with the first wheel. And then I seek to put it in that spot, because this wheel is going to be smaller because it's slightly further away as well. And this wheel is also mostly in shadow, just one or two spots of light on it. Now, what is important are the bits between the spokes that we can see. And they're good because they give some contrast to the spokes, well, at least to the parts of the spokes that are in sunlight. And one thing to really aim at, and probably something I could have done better if I'd been taking a bit more time, I would have worked harder at, and that's keeping the wood that's in direct sunlight really nice and clean in terms of our drawing, in terms of trying to avoid any unnecessary ink for any reason going on it. And then we can really contrast that white paper with the shadows around it. So here's something hanging off the edge here. Not real sure what that is. Something probably connected to the harness. I feel that that's the front end of this wagon, though it is not so straightforward to see. This was just parked in front of an old house that we were driving past in Tasmania. One of the many moments where we stopped the car and I jumped out. So here I am now, just again trying to capture the effects of the shadows without being too concerned about the exactness. I often talk about the importance of shadows under cars, under vehicles, and that's very important with this wagon as well. It's on grass, so we want to try and get some sense of that this is a grassy surface without fixating too much on it. I think I probably could have made this shadow darker than I did in the end. Looking at this as I began to do the voiceover, I was thinking, no, I think the shadow underneath could have had a slightly more black quality to it. So that's something to remember for next time. It's always good to look at our drawings, not to change them at that point, but in a way to critique them so that we can have a focus for our next drawing. Now, I wasn't sure whether to have this as a standalone wagon or to draw the house behind it, but I did decide in the end to add this old sandstone building and veranda, hopefully keeping it fairly light so that it doesn't impose visually on the wagon. With how it turned out, I think it does visually impose on the wagon a bit too much. But rather than not draw it, I think I should have just taken a little more effort not to quite connect those vertical lines with the horizontal top of the wagon, and also to have done an even lighter touch with the lines. I was consciously trying to use my pen with a lighter touch. I used a 0.2mm pen for the wagon, and possibly I would have done better by using a 0.1mm pen for the wall. The problem is my 0.1 that I had out is pretty exhausted of ink, and so I felt it would be too light, too scratchy, and I just couldn't be bothered hunting around for one with more ink. But knowing how much ink we have in our pens is important if we want to use different thickness lines for different effects. Because it could easily be that a 0.1 millimeter brand new pen actually leaves a blacker line, a more solid line, than a 0.2 that is fairly exhausted of ink. So here I am trying to be careful with my hatching lines to make sure that they don't go down over the top of some of that woodwork that's in the sun. And so I actually had that dilemma on both sides of the hatching. So what I did in parts, to some degree, was to start the lines at each end and overlap them in the middle so that I had a crisp finish. Now when we do this, it is really important that we don't let the pen linger where we start the hatching line, that we're lining up carefully, because once the pen is on the paper, the ink is flowing. And if we leave the pen in the one place, then we get a bit of a blob of ink. So unless that's the effect we want, it's really important to start moving the pen as soon as it hits the paper. So if we want to position or think about some things, then it's good just to hold the pen in one place while we do that. So getting towards the end of our scene here, I think it's really just bits of grass that I need to add. I want to put the grass in just to bring the foreground a bit closer and to create a bit more depth between the viewer and the back of this scene. So just darkening the upper section of the shadow in there, because that's where it is going to be strongest. Just a few more details, and then our wagon's pretty much done, I think. What am I doing there? What do you think? G'day, I'm Stephen Travers. Look, I hope you found this interesting. It's always a bit of fun to do a different subject. So why not give it a go? And as I said, the weathered, battered nature of the wagon does mean it's very forgiving for things not being quite lined up in the right place in the right way. At least some of the elements of the drawing anyway. And you'll find this, of course, this reference photo on my channel community page. But look, whatever you're drawing, however you draw it, make sure you have fun. I'll see you next time. Bye.